All right, we're back, and this is Legacy Build Your Kingdom. I am Rudy Knapp, and we are in 2026. Happy New Year to everyone. This is my first podcast of the new year. We had a nice little break for the holidays, bouncing right back. We're in the middle of a series about relationships. That word relationship we're going to get to at some point in the next couple of weeks. I think it's a really important one, a difference here. But I want to talk about relationships because we all have relationships with every part of our life. You have a relationship with work, you have a relationship with your kids, you have a relationship with your family members, you have a relationship with your person, which is really what we're kind of honing in on, your relationship with your person, or the person that you think is your one, your wife, your husband, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever it is. So, as we continue on in this series about relationships, I'm kind of excited to go through the new year. I think everybody starts a new year with these goals, and we talk about what we want to do in the next year. We come up with all this excitement. Everybody's at the gym January 1st, and just a little background on that. I'm not a component of start January 1st. I think that I've been that way at times in life, and I know in the last 6 years or so that I've evolved my whole life, my whole thought process on everything. One thing is we don't start on a designated time. We start when our minds are ready to start. And I think that's the misconception from everybody. Is it great to have a starting point so everybody can kind of look at and say, hey, this gives me some hope here? Sure. I mean, I'm not going to take that from anyone. If you want to start January 1st, cool. But if you made up your mind to start, why not start December 28th? Why not start January 5th, like today? The idea is you can start the moment you decide you want to start. And when you change your mind to jump into what it is you're actually going to change with action, that's when you start. We could talk about it all day long. We can all say we want to start with our goals. We want to start healing our relationships. We want to start being a better partner. But until actions actually match what your thought process is and what your words are saying, it doesn't matter. You didn't start. And I've always told this, and I'll probably say this many times on my podcast, and I think this is so important for everyone to look at. If you truly want change in your life, you truly want to build your kingdom, you truly want to get better, there's a few things I've come across in the past year that doing this podcast, it's opened my mind to a lot of things about myself, the reflection on myself, but also what I truly believe in. What are my core values? And so, two things that are so important when it comes to change. Number one, look in the mirror. I've recently started doing this in the last couple of months, is really looking in the mirror at my own self. How did I contribute to this? Even when I know I'm right, and I know that I've been treated wrongly, even when I know there's things that I can stand here with facts and say, I still contribute to it. And so as I contribute to it, what did I do wrong, or what could I have done differently in a situation? So, I had a situation months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, where I got heated. I didn't control my emotions. And we'll get into that again in our next series. But the concept is, how do you take ownership of what you've done? Even if you're right in the situation, how do you take ownership of your part in that situation? And that doesn't mean you have to stand here and say you're wrong about everything, because you probably weren't. But if you were, how do you take accountability, and how do you look in the mirror? And then how do you adjust that concept of saying, hey, what do I have to do so this doesn't happen again? Where I have that control, where I am not contributing to a poor outcome. Now, those are things you have to do. So, again, looking in the mirror, I think, is so important when we're starting to look at change. I also think this concept, I want you to picture this. I want you guys to do a little exercise where you close your eyes and you're picturing a door. And when you open that door, on the other side of that door is the abyss. It's a black hole. You can't see anything in it. It's like it's like a closet, but you don't know what's in there. It's so dark, you can't turn the light on. And it's scary, right? Let's just say that you float into outer space. If you step into it, like, you're thinking this process of, if I walk through that door, I don't know what's on the other side. I could float in outer space. I could, get attacked by a lion. I could, whatever. You don't know what's on the other side. But that other side, that's change. And if you ever want to change anything, truly change, not this Band-Aid, I'm going to go on a diet for 2 weeks and then go right back to, like, what change are you looking for? You're changing in how you approach life? Are you changing in your mental capacity? Are you changing in the idea of, you standing here and wanting to lose some weight, get in shape? You're changing your career, whatever it is. If you look behind you and the thought of losing, let me take that back. If you look behind you and the thought of whatever's behind you isn't that scary, you're not going to walk into that abyss. You're not going to walk into that door. But if you look behind you and the thought of what's behind you is so scary, you're going to take that step. What if you get diagnosed with something and you know that you have to do some differences in your diet, the health, whatever the case is? What if that sits in front of you? Like, man, that's right behind me. I'm going to be sick. I'm going to die if I don't make some changes. You step into that abyss. People get diagnosed with diabetes and certain things, and they look at their life at times and they go, it's scary to me that I have this. I don't want this anymore. And they step into that abyss. Talk about relationships again. Go back to this again. What about this concept of looking at relationships and saying to yourself, hey, you know what? If I don't change my behaviors, if I don't adjust the things that I'm doing, I'm going to look behind me, and the thought of losing that person is so scary. I don't want to lose that person in my life. I'm going to walk into that closet. I'm going to walk into that black hole, that abyss, and I'm going to make some changes about myself. Not changes in the relationship, those things. That all comes together as a unit. That's called relationship together, right? It's actually called a partnership. But the concept is this: if I look behind me and I'm not scared of losing that person, I'm never going to walk forward and look in the mirror at myself and start making the changes I need to make. So change comes from those two major points right there. And we can talk about change a lot. We are going to talk about change again, and you'll probably hear this again. But at some point, this is so important and instrumental to how a relationship can be effective and can continue. And if you don't look at it, it's that sense that I'm in a relationship where I don't want to lose my person. And I'm part of the problem. If it's not going well, I'm part of the problem. Not just one person. They could do you wrong. They could do a lot. It's happened to me many times. And, they did me wrong. And guess what? I still was part of the problem. That doesn't mean we're 50-50. That doesn't mean that I can take ownership of all of it. No, I can't. It means that person has to take ownership and look into the mirror themselves. I have to look into the mirror myself, and I have to make changes for my future, whether it's with that relationship or for the next one or whatever case is. I have to look at myself in that mirror and I have to step into that abyss and I have to make some changes. So as I look at that, the reason I bring this point up is this concept of, well, what are you going to do? What's actively effective when it comes to how you are in a relationship? Like, what do you do to make sure that you are improving or proactive in a relationship where your partner feels love, feels that you are there and you are part of this concept of wanting this relationship to be prosperous, right? So many people have talked about this many times, and we'll go through it because I think it's a really important concept. But there is a tool out there that's been talked about for years now. And as guys, as a man, as a male, we kind of don't get into this idea of this emotional lovey-dovey things at times. Just that's a stereotype. It doesn't mean that we aren't. I'm a very emotional person. I will talk about love and emotions all day long. I'm an emotional person, but I'm also a man, and I'm also masculine, and I'm also somebody that's going to be straightforward and believes in logic as well. But I also believe in effort. And like I talked about in this relationship series, endless effort is the foundation for everything. Are you giving effort? Are you receiving effort? We talked about communication. Are you communicating to get understanding, or are you just communicating to talk? Are you communicating and is your partner listening for understanding? That's how it's a reciprocal thing, right? Back and forth. Are you both communicating in a way to get your partner to understand? Well, part of that communication comes from this topic today. And part of those efforts that you have comes from this topic today. So are you making changes? Are you improving? Are you helping yourself and becoming a better person so that your relationship becomes a better relationship? Build your kingdom. That means build your partner first. I will say this, and I will always stand by this. I am a king, and I have the concept that if I don't have the right queen next to me, my kingdom is going to suffer. I need a queen next to me. I need a queen that understands me. I need a queen that understands endless effort. I need a queen that I'm going to give every single part of me to. So everything I preach, that's what they get. And here's the thing. If you are respected as a king and you're getting this given to you as well, then you're going to give everything to that person. Again, I believe in this idea of your partner's needs come before your own. You can be a king and you can build up your life and can build up those people around you. But the same thing with the queen. She has to build up her life and she has to build up those people around her, including the king. So again, I have a lot of concepts here, but what does this mean? This means, did you actively look into your partner and their needs? This means today we want to talk about love languages. So this concept has come out, these love languages, men, masculine men, we kind of ignore this thing, but women get into these emotional things. Listen, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, you better understand love languages and not just for your partner. You have to understand love languages for other people in your life. And that's a common misunderstanding if you ask me. People don't understand this concept because what they do is they want to look at it directly as your person, your wife, your husband, whoever. But realistically, love languages are for everyone. Your friends have love languages, your kids have love languages, your family members do. You should learn your people in your kingdom. Primarily my kids, right? I have to understand how do they receive love? And which love languages are effective for them. So we'll get into that in a second, but I want to make sure we understand this concept of love languages. So let's talk a little bit about it. If you don't know what it is, bear with me. If you do know what it is, bear with me. If you don't know what it is, please pay attention because some people are misunderstood on some topics here. And I'm going to give you my insight on this. I'm going to give you a little bit of what I think. And again, I believe it's a great tool. So I want you to think of it as a tool. This isn't just the Bible. This isn't what should happen every single second of the day. This is a tool that helps your relationship, helps put your partner's needs first, also helps understand that I'm actively working with effort towards this entire relationship. So love languages. Love languages are crucial because they help you express and receive love in ways that are generally resonate with others, preventing misunderstandings, fostering deep emotional connection, and boosting relationship satisfaction by ensuring efforts feel meaningful, not just performed. Understanding these different styles builds empathy, strengthens bonds, and promotes healthier communication by showing love to your partner's needs. So, what are the 5 love languages? We talk about 5. Are there a million? Everybody says there's a whole bunch of love languages out there. You could talk about love languages and add on some sort of content to that love language, sure. But there are 5 that are mainly discussed. And those 5 love languages are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. So there's 5. And so there are benefits for these, right? There are key benefits for knowing these love languages. You have to understand them and know them before you can even decide what is my love language and what is your love language. And we'll get into that again. But what are the benefits? Well, you got to have effective communication. You learn to speak your partner's love language. You make them feel truly seen and appreciated rather than just showing love in your own preferred way. Like you can't just do it because you love that love language. You have to do it because your partner is the one that needs that love language. Right? So those are part of the rules. We'll get into that. You have to have deeper intimacy. I mean, this creates, if you know this, if you understand these love languages, if you get these benefits from these love languages, it comes back to deeper intimacy. You meet each other's core emotional needs, right? This closeness, this satisfaction. That's a benefit. Another benefit would be reduced conflict. Well, think about it. It's going to minimize that neglect, that emotional neglect. You start really putting in effort to specifically look into their love language, then you're taking away that neglect, right? Or misinterpretation, or the idea that you might be confused or miscommunication, reducing conflict. The other one would be increased empathy. You learn to focus on your loved one's needs. You're building relational maturity and attentiveness. So this concept of increased empathy means that you actively are looking into trying to make your partner happy or feel loved. Think about that concept. There's times where we're frustrated with our partners, we're frustrated at things they do or say, or we're so used to them at certain things. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be tough. But when you're trying to better your relationship, you should have an intention. intentional. That's a huge word. And the last thing would be stronger bonds. So you're going to create these stronger bonds. If you understand and you know love languages, you're creating a stronger bond, right? These are meaningful gestures, which enforces love, leading to more resilient, fulfilling, and long lasting relationships. So that's the whole point, right? If you want a stronger bond, you learn about love languages, you apply love languages. So before I get into what they are, and let's talk about each one of them, let's go into this idea of the biggest misunderstanding of how it works. So one of the biggest misunderstandings is self-awareness. You first identify your own primary language, right? So this is how it works. You first identify your own primary language and you understand what makes you feel loved. So a lot of people don't understand how this works, but I want to make sure we understand how this works. You look at yourself, what is my love language? How do I feel loved? Let me choose from the five. Let me choose one or two of these from the five and make sure I understand this is how I feel loved. When this is presented to me, when someone does this for me, I feel loved. You make sure you identify your love language first. The second thing you do is you look at your partner's love language. You learn your partner's love language, even if it's different from yours. So if yours is one love language and theirs is a different one, you still have to learn theirs, most importantly. And then you have an intentional effort, right? You make a conscious effort to show love in their preferred way, making an effective communication of how you want your partner to feel loved. So let's think about that. We know our own love language, what we want. We learn our partner's love language. We can ask them, we can talk to them, communicate it, we can learn it from them, we can see it, with actions. Whatever the case is, we learn it. We make sure we intentionally look to learn our partner's love language, and then we provide them with what they need. So we look at it and say, hey, if my partner's love language is something that is different than mine, I can't give them what I need. I have to give them what they need. So let's talk about the five love languages. Let's get right into it. So number one, words of affirmation. All right. So this is defined as expressing affection through spoken compliments, praise, or encouraging words. So examples would be like, I appreciate you. You're doing great. Or I believe in you. You build connection by validating others and oneself, often focusing on strengths, efforts, and inherent worth. So you think about this concept. People love feeling appreciated. If your love language is words of affirmation and your partner is constantly giving you words of affirmation, like telling you, I'm proud of you, I love you, thank you for doing this, you're amazing at this, and they're building you up with your confidence, words of affirmation, that could be your love language. I believe it's part of mine. And when you feel like you're doing a good job and you're helping others and you feel like your partner recognizes that, you feel great. So think about that one more time. Your partner is providing you with words of affirmation because that's your love language. Just because their love language might not be words of affirmation doesn't mean that you can't give them words of affirmation. It just means that your partner has to be understanding of what you need to feel loved. So we go to the second one, acts of service. Doing helpful things for someone like chores or errands to show you care. Some examples include cooking a meal, filling up the gas tank, doing laundry, helping with yard work, or taking care of unwanted chores, all done without being asked to show support and appreciation. Yeah, acts of service. Some people love that. Man, I didn't have to do this. Oh, I came home from work and dinner's already made, the dishes are already done, or, my partner decided that they knew I needed, a new toothbrush. They stopped and picked up a new toothbrush. I mean, acts of service. That's something that can go a long way with a little bit, the small things, like doing a little bit. Receiving gifts is another one. Finding joy in tangible tokens of love where the thoughtfulness matters more than the cost. Examples include surprise flowers, their favorite snack, tickets to the game, handwritten note, maybe even a pretty rock they found on a walk. I don't know. Something that reminds them of you. I remember you. Something signaling, I remember you. I care about you. It's all about the symbol of love and effort, making them feel seen, valued, and remembered even when you're apart. So think about that. Brought a flower when you saw them. I thought of you. Oh, you Went and picked up flowers randomly. We talk about that a lot, right? Wrote them a note, sent them a little text message when you're not part. Like this receiving gifts isn't just about money. And sometimes it is. Sometimes getting tickets to the game, whatever those case. But the idea is it's not about money. It's about knowing that they care about you. Quality time is another one. This is a big one. Giving someone your focused, undivided attention. Examples include regular date nights, cooking or taking classes together, going for walks without phones, planning future trips, creating daily routines like coffee chats, even doing chores together to bond, all while being present. Quality time just doesn't mean like, hey, every second that I'm free, I'm going to run and sit next to you. It means, what are we doing with our quality time? Or it means sometimes you have to sacrifice other times in other places so you can have quality time. Being part of this relationship together is so important. And that quality time that you put in, that effort you put in to make sure you are together or you are doing things together, making memories, doing small things. This is a big part of effort. And we talked about endless effort already. So quality time is a big part of that. Finding ways, especially when we're all busy. We all have our own kids. We all have certain things. Maybe you have kids together and the kids' time is taking up your time together as a husband and wife. You need to date. You need to find time together. You need those moments without those kids involved. Yes, vacations are great with your kids. That's awesome. We've done it many times, but guess what? You need time together without those kids. So quality time is an important one. The last one, physical touch. Expressing love through appropriate physical closeness, such as hugs or pat on the back or holding hands. Some examples also include cuddling, massages, kisses, extending beyond just sex to include comfortable touches, an arm around the shoulder, hand on the leg, creating connection, safety, and closeness. They can go from casual touches to intimate moments, all communicating care non-verbally. Without saying words, we can touch. I always talked about this. You go on a first date, and it's interesting because men, and we'll get into this, men versus women coming up soon, maybe even next. Men's concept of relationships versus women's concept of relationships. Everybody wants a connection, but men are very physical people and women are very emotional people. And that's a generalization. Some of us are both, some of us are different. But when we talk about generalization, right? If you're an emotional person, you want an emotional connection to a man before it becomes physical if you're a woman. If you're a man, you like that physical and it turns into emotional. So there's two ways to look at this. Now, that doesn't mean jump in the bed with someone and have sex right away. That means, yeah, you might be on a first date. You want to know if they're interested in you. Maybe their eye contact is a big part of it. Maybe their gentle touch to your hand or your arm or whatever the case is, something to show some sort of connection. There's a physical. And that's something that is quite important in any relationship. If there is no physical connection there's going to probably not be a relationship that lasts. So physical is a really important love language. So those are 5 love languages. The concept becomes this. Take a second right now. Think about those 5. Think about the idea of what they represent, the examples. Which one, if you have to choose one out of 5, a lot of people go, I have 3 or 4, I have all of them, or whatever the case. You have to pick one that is above all. And if you do that, if you take this exercise and you pick one above all, or even if you number them 1 through 5, and 1 being the best or the most effective for you to feel love from your partner, it does not hurt to have that list and hand it to your partner. Sometimes we assume they know, and sometimes they don't. And sometimes we look at what we're telling them as, hey, this is what I'm telling you I need, which is a huge part of relationships. So many relationships get ruined. I know I've had personal experiences ruined when you tell directly what you need and your partner says, no, I think you need something else. Miscommunication, not putting your partner's needs first, not listening for understanding. All important things. So when you start looking at these exercises, what I would challenge you to do right now is write down 1 through 5 in order. Not just 1. Let's go to 1 through 5. Choose number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. You might like all of them, but guess what? Number 1 has to be there. You have to make choices. I know it's life, and I know it's hard, and everybody wants to be wish-washy, but I'm sorry. You got to make a choice. So if your number 1 is words of affirmation, then you're going to put a 1 next to it. If your number 2 is physical touch, you're going to put a number 2 next to it. Quality time, number 3, you put next to it if that's yours. Acts of service, 4. And then receiving gifts, 5. If that's yours, which I believe is mine, that's probably why I just listed it that way. If that's your order, you're going to write it down and you are going to hand it to your partner. And when you hand it to your partner, your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, spouse, whoever, let them see it as an act of you saying, this is what I need in this relationship for me to feel loved. This is the ways in which is great, because if you do that and they do the same thing for you, there's no confusion. If you're somebody that still thinks you know better than your partner knows, you better look in the mirror again, like we talked about, some change. But the idea becomes is those are my acts, those are the 5 love languages, and that is an act or an action to help you improve your relationship right there. Now let's go deeper here. Let's continue this on. Let's go deeper into this. Here's some thoughts of mine. Here's some deeper thoughts into this. You know, love languages, you got to realize a lot of people think there are many more love languages. Those are the main 5. That's the ones that came out, everybody talks about. Stick to that as a basis. There are other ones that are deeper, but let's go into deeper thoughts here. What about energy and intention? See, love is an energy that needs to be expressed and exchanged. Remember, it's a choice. It's also a verb. The language is how we manage and blend the energy, requiring balance, timing, and intentionality. So think about this for a second. It's like a recipe. The love is the energy that needs to be expressed and exchanged. The language is how we manage and blend that energy. We have to have balance, we have to have timing, we have to be intentional. Think about that concept of exchanging your energy. If you don't, and you don't participate in this effort, if you don't look at that concept, it's not going to work. This is all about trying to improve yourself and trying to improve your relationship. What about it being fluid? What about change? These preferences, you could have number 1 right now is words of affirmation, and it could change in a year. It could change in 6 months. These can change. This is not stagnant, right? This is something that can change. And if it does, it's your job to communicate to your partner. Now think about it. Sometimes experiences change how our love languages are met, right? Sometimes there's life events that happen that change this. So sometimes having a secondary language or going to number 2 on the list is really important. Sometimes when we're trying to provide for our partner, we're not just looking at number 1, words of affirmation. No, we're looking at all 5. But we understand that words of affirmation is the most effective because you told me that. Or we understand that quality time is the most effective. So I'm going to do whatever it takes just to schedule at work, find a way to go on a trip, find a way for date night, whatever the case is to have quality time. See, this is a constant, endless effort. I can't express that enough. This all goes hand in hand. There are so many connections, so many patterns to all of this. Love language connect to all of the most important parts of a relationship. Just remember, deeper than this, this goes beyond the 5, right? This doesn't mean just pick 1 or 2. This means that those are the most effective. Look through all of them. You want to make sure that you're looking at your partner's needs and you're addressing them, but also beyond the 5. So some believe that love languages are more complex, right? They have other things like shared experiences or emotional vulnerability or shared values. You can extend beyond those 5 core love languages, right? So a couple more things I want to get out before I end this here. There are some critical thoughts here. Here's the downfall of love languages. And I want you to pay close attention to this because I think this is where people go wrong. Number 1, they weaponize your love language. They look at you and they say, well, you didn't use my love language. They throw it back in your face. They're weaponizing you, right? Do not use the love language as a selfish benefit to you. I told you that my love language was whatever the case is, whatever one you want to pick. My love language was acts of service, and you didn't provide that for me. You can't use this as a weapon. You can have communication with your partner, but you can't use it as a weapon. You can't throw it in their face just because something didn't happen your way. You're trusting in your partner to constantly giving effort. The other thing is you don't want to be redundant, right? So try to avoid that, right? If your partner's love language is receiving gifts, be selective and more meaningful as opposed to bringing a gift every single time that you see them. Now that's cool, and there's some cool things there, but realistically, we want to get to the concept of it's so appreciated, right? But if that's the only love language we're using, and we're constantly bringing a gift or we're constantly doing something that addresses the love language, guess what? Some people are not going to feel the effect of how meaningful it is. We want to make sure that we get that. If quality time is yours, that doesn't mean spend every single second of every single minute with them. You still have a life, you still have friends, you still have some other things that go on. But realistically, yes, you're going to have to do some sacrificing to have quality time with your partner. But that doesn't mean every second of every day. So remember, we're not redundant. We're going to try to understand that we're using all 5 love languages, but we're going to focus on the primary ones that they've told us are most effective to understand that they're receiving love. This is how they receive love. Love languages are not about you. And that's what everybody gets misunderstood. They're just not about you. I have words of affirmation. That doesn't mean that I'm going to give you words of affirmation because I need words of affirmation. And if I only give you words of affirmation and I don't give you your other love languages, guess what? I'm only caring about me because that's effective for me. So I'm thinking if I can give it to you, you're going to be affected by it. But realistically, you might not be. That might be number 5 on your list. And you might go, hey, that's cool. That's nice. Thanks for being proud of me. But realistically, I need more physical touch. And you're not providing it for me. Now, are you going to throw that in their face? Absolutely not. That's weaponizing. But you can communicate, hey, I would love for us to cuddle on the couch. I would love for us to have more time together where I feel your energy touching my energy. I love that you hold my hand. Have a conversation instead of throwing it in their face and being negative, right? Stay positive. And then effort is the key, guys. Effort is the most important thing in everything. Endless effort. We talked about the real challenge isn't identifying just the languages, but the consistent effort to express love to a partner's language, right? Even if it's not your own, even if it requires you stretching outside your comfort zone, you must address and be intentional in your relationship, how to better your relationship constantly. I don't care if you're married for 50 years. I don't care if you're dating for 2 weeks. I don't care if you are stagnant, you get to, we just had kids and give all that excuse. No, there are no excuses. Endless effort in your relationship. Find a partner that's going to reciprocate and give it back to you. So just remember this before I leave you. Love languages are powerful communication tools for building bridges, not a strict label. It's like, oh, this is my label. This is what I am. No, this is a tool to help you build your relationship. The greatest value of love language lies in the commitment to adapt, learn, and apply them with empathy and effort. But just remember, you have to remember there are limitations, and this can be misused. Like I said, weaponizing. We can't misuse the love languages because now you just reverse the effect of it being a positive thing to help your relationship. And now you just turn it into a negative thing because you weaponized it and you threw it in your partner's face. Go right back to the same concept. I put my partner's needs first, and she puts my needs first, and now it's reciprocal, and then we both feel loved. So I hope that you guys really take on and look at the little tool here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give it to your partner, communicate it so they know, so there's no misunderstanding. Even though you think they know, they might not know. I know you probably had conversations about this. Great. And if you haven't, at least hopefully this is information that you can use. As always, I hope this podcast is something that you guys listen to, that you take a little bit for. Yes, my personal feelings and opinions. Yep, you don't have to agree with me like anything else in life. Perspective comes into play. But if you take a little bit of something and it does affect you and helps your relationship, then that makes me happy. It makes me happy. It's something you can take. Just like I listen to people that talk to me over and over again. And I love taking things from them. A lot of times concepts on this podcast come from people that I've talked to. A lot of times it comes from me doing some research and listening and looking, and then also just personal relationships, personal things that I've gone through. I learned so much. And if you're not learning from your relationships, then you're failing. Keep looking into your own self. Look in that mirror. Make those changes. Start benefiting your relationship. Start looking at love languages. Start finding ways proactively to help every single day. I know you got bad days. We talk about 80, 20%, 90, 10% is what I call it. We talk about it. Some days you only have 10% to give in your relationship. That might not be the day that you're really focused on certain things, but you still have to have empathy towards your partner. You still have to look at it. Now, maybe the next day you have 90% to give and you are all out, you are active service, you are quality time, you are looking at what their list says and providing. Just show them you care. Don't hide. Don't run. Don't be stagnant. Don't be in a situation where I feel like this relationship, oh, I got this. It's fine. Every day's the same thing, redundant, same thing. Guys, don't do that. This ruins marriages, it ruins relationships. Redundancy kills. Be spontaneous, listen, or even just do nice things for each other. Show them you care. Constant reminder. I'm a huge component of understanding reassurance. Always reassure your partner. So I'm going to leave you with a quote from Nelson Mandela, which I thought was great. And I want you to listen to this. Please take this with you, ponder it, think about it again, listen to the podcast again, follow the podcast, share it, send it to your friends, whatever. A cool stat that I just saw before I got on here, I thought it was really cool. Over 100 listens this past month. That's great. I appreciate all of you. You guys are great. This is truly improving my life to help myself personally, my own understanding of relationships where I'm at. I mean, I have drawbacks. I am not perfect. I try to preach what I practice what I preach. Sometimes I have misunderstandings and I fall into certain things that are really difficult, just like everybody else. But I'm constantly working on it. And I think that sets me apart from a lot of people. And I really hope that all of you jump on board with this. Build your kingdom. Keep working on yourself. Keep finding, step into that uncomfortable zone and find something new. Add to your resume who you are. Keep helping yourself. On podcasts, like I was talking to my kids just recently, and I'm still going on, but they're just having a conversation like, what can you bring to the table? Are you like everyone else? Don't be like everyone else. You can do things that everyone else does great, but what makes you unique? Start thinking about that question as well. Are you great at relationships? Are you great at having, this emotional intelligence? Love languages, emotional intelligence, relationship intelligence, right? I told my kids, like, what do you do that's different than everyone else as a character, as who you are, not just what you do. Yeah, you play sports, great. Yeah, you get straight A's, great. Everybody does. Cool. I'm proud of them. I love it. I think they should do that. I think every kid should. But what else brings you to the table? What else makes you special on who you are? Your heart? My son alone has one of the best hearts in life. Any person that's ever talked to him can say, he's such a great kid, very polite, understanding. This kid's amazing. My daughter is one of the most creative people. She's got friends, everybody loves her. But she's got her way of being independent. Sometimes it's a fault for me because she's very independent and I don't like her growing up too fast. But the concept is they have their own qualities. What makes you you? How do you extend it and use your character to do more things in life? What are you knowledgeable about? I love the idea that this podcast started, and I hated it at first. Didn't want to do this. Didn't want to talk in front of people. Didn't want to hear myself talk. Was nervous. Was worried what people think. That's not me anymore. I'm not doing that ever again. I don't really care because you can listen or you don't. But the idea is, I'm going to tell you what my true feelings are. I live with my heart on the sleeve. Everybody knows that, and I will truly believe in the things that I say. Otherwise, I won't ever say them. Integrity. So going back to what Nelson Mandela said, is this is really important, and I hope that all men and women understand this. If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. So just think about that, break that down. They're not just talking about men, they're talking about women as well, but think about this concept. If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. Now apply that to love languages. Think about what that means. Do you want your partner's heart to feel what you're doing for them? Then be intentional. Choose what they need as they tell you and communicate. Their actions, their words, they write down the list for you. Choose what your partner's telling you because they know themselves best. You know them more than anyone. They know themselves best. Listen to your partner. Listen to what they need and follow suit because you care about them. Put their needs first. And then your needs will be met as well because they will do the same for you. I hope everyone has a great start of the new year. I hope everyone has goals set. I hope everyone is achieving their goals. Step outside your comfort zone. Go do something cool, do something fun, you know, have some goals, do something different than other people. Check out my website. If you need some help, life coaching, you need to get to those goals, man, I am the person. Come talk to me. I promise you. I will get you on track. I promise you your mindset will change. I promise you there are people that have changed, and I will make sure that I put in the effort for you, endless effort. Contact me. I have right now going 2 weeks free. If you contact me in the next couple of weeks here, I got this promotion going for life coaching. Just get started. I don't even care. Just come get started. I want to see you get help. I want to see you start with your mindset changing, getting healthier mentally, physically, spiritually, career wise, your relationships. Those are the 5 pillars. Come talk to me. Let's get this started. All right, signing off. I am Rudy Knapp. Sorry, this is a long one. Hopefully you take something from this. I love the idea of love languages. Please look at your partner. Go make that list. Go talk to them. Communicate. Date your partner. Make this work. Put in the effort. Take care.